tuning in, and welcome back to another episode of The Sound Booth. My name is Lombax,
Josh Crespo,
and today we have two special guests. One is going to be a co-host. It's Danny Fathom. I'm sure a lot of you have seen him already. We interviewed him a couple months back, so he's going to be on the next 5 or 6 kind of episodes going through. So we're super excited to have him out here co-hosting with us. And our second guest is going to be Papi. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, man, of course. Yeah. So, I mean, we can just get right into it. So, Cash, what would you say is a good way to say that your song process starts, or what's the creative process like for you generally?
So, basically, I just wanted to start off by saying for our artists, I think it's extremely important nowadays that you go and you do some research into how the beat production process works. So definitely go and try to get to the mindset of what a producer sees when they're looking for an artist that, I guess, stands out from the rest. I think that's important just because nowadays you see a lot of people, they, I guess, have an idea of how it's supposed to sound. But when you get into that mindset of like, you're a producer and you're an artist, when you get those things together, I think it just creates a whole new, better experience for the listener, because you know exactly what to expect when you want to do your hook, when you want to do your verse, when you want to do your ad-lib. For example, when a producer is recording somebody who doesn't know what they're doing with ad-libs, it's 10 times harder because they have to spend more time lining up the ad-libs and, you know, cutting up all the stuff that doesn't need to be on the track. So if you get into that mindset of the producer as an artist, your workflow is going to be like 10 times faster. You're going to know exactly what to do with your ad-libs, exactly what to do with your hook, and exactly what to do with what they call either hype or dub. A lot of people nowadays, I feel like they don't know what that's actually meant for. They think that it's like, oh, I'm gonna do like what ad-lib is on a double or a hype. Me personally, being a producer, what I do with the doubles or the hype ups is I really just use it to reinforce certain parts of the hook or certain parts of the chorus, if you want to call it that the words stand out more. So basically, they're not going to be heard as much as, you know, the main verse or the main hook, you know? Yeah, so like I was saying, basically, like, if you're an artist, just definitely try to get into the mindset of what a producer wants, you know? It's going to make your workflow 10 times faster. Nowadays, I definitely feel like we're going towards that direction of, like, the artist and the producer is definitely colliding. You have people like J. Cole, Travis Scott, they produce a lot of stuff for themselves. And I just happen to be on that side of, I guess you could say, the music realm right now, where I get into a studio, and since I went to audio school, I know exactly what I want to hear on the track. I know what reverb is. I know what EQ does. I know what compression does to a track. So that helps me on a daily basis know exactly what I want to do with my song. So that's my advice to any up and upcoming artists that really want to make their workflow 10 times faster. Definitely try to get more into the mindset of a producer.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, speed kills in a sense. You guys are able to get aligned, having artist and producer align on that same like wavelength, and being able to even talk about that before recording. I think that's a really, really good point. And maybe that's something a lot of people do miss, is just having that synergy and that balance between each other.
Correct.
So hey, we're kind of curious. Where are you located right now? You got the whole blue thing, so we don't really know where it's from. I like it. I dig it.
I can't say too much, but I'm in a bando. Basically, it's like a trap house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the studio's nearby, so.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I'm not a. I kind of come off sometimes as like a very intellectual person, but I also I come from the trenches, so you know what I'm saying. It's not always sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's a clean look?
Yeah.
So when did you first start getting into music? Maybe like how old were you, and then were you at like an artist at that time or a producer? And maybe talk about that.
It's a very strange process that happened to me. I started off in a reggaeton group, so that's like
Nice.
Spanish, I guess you could say Caribbean type music. And we were very successful in my hometown. The highlight of our group was we performed in front of I think like 18,000 people for a music festival in my hometown.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
that was the highlight, but it just got to a point where we had too many ideas and too many people were colliding with each other, so it just didn't work out. And then in the end, I ended up going my own way, and that's when I decided to go to audio school because there was so many engineers in my area. There's nothing against engineers, but they just really didn't care about what I was doing with my music. They just wanted to get paid. So I got tired of it, so I decided to take matters into my own hands and just basically said, you know what, I think I can do this myself. So yeah. And right now I have an engineer that I work with, so I guess at the time it was really me just being a little bit stubborn since I was young, and trying to do it all on my own, but I learned quickly that you can't do it on your own. You definitely need a team.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. You just gotta find the right people. It's more or less the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got one from me?
So where did you go to audio school?
I went to SAE.
Nice.
Oh, no.
New York.
Okay, out in New York.
It's a nice school, man.
Yeah, they actually were. I don't know if they were in trouble lately for pirating FL Studio, but I mean, it is what it is.
So did you use FL Studio when you went to SAE? Is that what you still use?
They taught us Pro Tools. We had the FL, and then I think we had another one which I didn't really use that much. I think it was called Reason.
Oh
Yeah.
Reason, okay.
What do you
And they
mean?
also showed us PreSonus, I think it was called.
PreSonus, yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
primarily
so-
use now? Sorry to interrupt.
I'm sorry.
What do you primarily use now?
I use mostly Pro Tools and that.
I'm an FL guy myself.
Although I have seen it. Yeah, that's what's up, bro. I have actually seen Nick Maron use Ableton for processing loops just because the time stretching on Ableton is amazing. And then he takes everything to FL Studio, so I might get into that in the future.
Ableton's pretty great. It's just preference, man.
It's
it is. You can do. I see guys making beats on GarageBand, so.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
nowadays
And
you
your
can
phone now.
use anything.
Oh heck yeah.
That's how I first started or learned was
Garage.
GarageBand. Just like in high school, not listening to my teacher. I found this. I was like, "What is this?" And then boom. But cool, man. So can you briefly talk about this? We're gonna be wrapping it up in just a quick sec, but can you maybe talk to us about your creative process, like maybe who gives you inspiration, and then how do you maybe formulate the music that you do or that you create?
So I personally have took it upon me to study all the legends. I've studied Michael Jackson, James Brown, the Beatles, Paul McCartney, John Lennon. Who else can you say? What's his name? Jimi Hendrix. Dizzy Gillespie. Just to name some legends from all sorts of genres. I just really wanted to see what made these guys tick. What made people associate them with people like, let's say, Marvin Gaye. And it's insane because each one has this specific thing that they just stuck to, and they didn't give up. So it's basically like kind of like finding your niche and sticking to it. Don't try to be everybody at the same time. So find something that people are like, that really sounds good on you. And then just don't give up. Keep attacking it and try to use that same niche on like every track. That way, when people tune into you, they're not feeling like, oh, I don't know who this person is. They can play like 5 songs and they're like, I think I know who this guy wants to be, you know?
Yeah.
And I also wanted to kind of go into like, I have a friend that he's working very closely with NBA Youngboy.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to talk about that just a tiny bit, because what I've seen basically is what is working for artists nowadays is definitely connecting with these big artists with their team first on social network. So if you see the NBA Youngboy has like a manager or something like that, or his manager's friend, and you can find them on social networks, and don't take it too fast, but also don't take it too slow. You know what I'm saying? Just let them know that you're there. Let them know that you're constantly putting in work. And eventually, it might come to the point where they're like, hey, I'm gonna be in this area, and I'm gonna be at this club. And if you just happen to be there, you know what I'm saying? That's basically how he approached it. And I think I'm using the same tactic now. I'm associating myself with a lot of producers that are close to, 808 Mafia and stuff like that on Twitter. And only time can tell, but I really think that's the best process nowadays, because a lot of times it's like you have so many artists, and it's like you don't know which label you're gonna go to or which distribution really you want. And I just think it's better if you stick to like maybe one team, or if you want to be associated with one group of individuals. That way you don't feel like it's so crazy, because it's really hard to get noticed nowadays. But if you just pick a certain group, I feel like your chances are 100% better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Love it, man.
Pretty smart.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. I think.
No, man, we appreciate your time for sure. Thank you for making this happen.
Yeah.
I just got one more question. So, if you had 3 pieces of advice that you would give to, let's say, maybe new and aspiring artists that are maybe watching this and kind of like wanting to get in the music industry and get their feet wet, what are the 3 pieces of advice you would give to them?
Number 1, trust your guts. So there's gonna be a lot of people telling you, go with this guy, go with that guy, sign to this, sign to that. Listen to your gut. Don't let anybody stray you from what you really want to become. Number 2, you definitely have to learn the basics of music. Because if you don't, you're going to spend thousands of dollars trying to catch up to, let's say, a Drake or a J. Cole, and it's going to cost you a lot of money when you can just find all this free information online, like music theory or how does EQ work, how to make songs better, faster. And then number 3, which is kind of cliche, everybody says it, but be yourself. Even if you're a fucking weirdo like me, it doesn't matter, man. Just be yourself, bro. Because at the end of the day, when people see you, that's the only way they're gonna fall in love with you and not nobody else. So that's my advice to up and coming artists.
I love the confidence, man. Real quick, so what you said on the second piece of advice, what sources of information would you recommend to people to find that kind of information?
All right, here's a real good one. Subscribe to Mix with the Masters. You're going to see Grammy Award-winning engineers and how they go about mixing their stuff, how they form their buzzing all these secrets that you thought was like worth millions of dollars, they teach you for like a low monthly subscription.
Nice.
And then also YouTube, man. YouTube is like free, and they have so many things for free. I learned on YouTube like how to mix better, and I actually learned more on YouTube some days than I did in school because there's people actually doing it. They're actually making a beat. In school, they kind of just went into like, oh, this is a compressor, this is what it does. But when you see someone actually use a compressor on a vocal, and they show you how to like not get rid of the transients on drums, or how to not take away all the beat from a vocal track, you know, or how to have a better release so that it doesn't mess up your vocal. That's like 10 times better. Because you're gonna know how to apply that when you need, instead of it being like, oh, I think I know what a compressor does, you know?
Yeah.
And so just one last question. So do you think going on YouTube and going on these sites, do you think that can supplement for going to school, or would you still recommend young producers and aspiring artists to go to school as well?
Here's the thing, if you want to be taken serious in this field, you gotta go to school, man. Like, it's just a reality, because you could get lucky, like, let's say, I don't know, who's a producer that didn't go to school, I guess. Maybe someone like, I don't think Dr. Dre went to school, you know? I think he just literally was like so good at it when he started off, like being a DJ, that he translated that into like NWA. You know, you could try your luck, but let's say you're in the room with like somebody like I don't know, just a huge name. They're not gonna let you go and sit down on Pro Tools. You know, it is what it is. Unless you have, you know, a piece of paper saying, "Oh, I'm a certified audio engineer," or something like that. It just opens certain doors that when you know you say, "Oh, I'm self-taught." Sometimes some people take that the wrong way, especially when you're reaching a certain level, you know. Because I have been when I was starting off, I did reach a point where I was like, wow, this guy's a huge name. Like, he has, you know, and all my friends were like, oh, he's a good engineer, he makes beats. He didn't really take it too serious because, you know, it's like, oh, this kid, like, what do you know? But ever since I got, you know, certified, and I can show people, you know, like I have a certificate or whatever it is, I'm an audio engineer, people just take it 10 times more serious. And I can charge them more because of that. So, you know, but you can definitely reach a certain amount of skill off YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Really appreciate your insight into that.
Yeah, man. Appreciate your insight. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Really, yeah. That was great. That was a lot of information all packed in
Good
a short amount of time. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
So you guys can follow me on Twitter at Northeast Papi, Instagram at Northeast Papi, or you can just try to find me at Cash Papi, Spotify, Cash Papi. And I'm releasing something around Valentine's, but it's really on the low right now. So,
okay.
Yeah, guys, thank you again for your time, and I appreciate it, man. This is my first interview, so.
Yeah,
awesome, man.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on, man. You did fantastic.
Yeah, wealth of information
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, man.
Who knows? Maybe I'll be back when I hit, you know, my next milestone. Who knows?
Yeah, let's go, man. Sounds good.
Cool, man.
All right, guys.
Well, to everybody else watching, thank you for tuning in. It was great talking to you guys. And other than that, we'll see you
next time.
See you at the top.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, yeah, thank you.